Welcome to the Extra Mile podcast for bar exam takers. There are no traffic jams along the extra mile when you're studying for your bar exam. And now your hosts, Jackson Mummy and Megan Saya from Celebration Bar Review.
Okay, hey everybody, welcome. It is Wednesday, May 18th. I have no idea where I am, who I am. I'm in the time machine. I'm wearing the white polo today, and it's Throwback Wednesday. Hi Megan, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. I know we're all exhausted. Let me tell you, May is like an underrated crazy month, right? Everybody knows things like the holidays are crazy. They don't tell you May. May is always crazy. Right. So here we are, all halfway through.
I got nothing, man. We are going to take your questions today, and we've got some good questions that came in during the week. We'll be glad to take questions that you've got, put them up in chat if anything comes up. Megan will filter those, and June will, and we'll get to those. So on a personal note, just want to say, this is just apropos of absolutely nothing, and Megan doesn't know I'm doing this. This is when she starts to go, what's he going to do? So I was trying to cut into a video today to record a video edit. That's why I'm wearing the white polo, the throwback. And I put on my glasses, my old glasses without prescription lenses, just to see if it would work. And I didn't like it at all, Megan. Several people have asked me what happened. I had cataract surgery, and in what they call the Christmas miracle, they were not attempting to correct for my vision, which has never been better than 20/30. And miraculously, it went to 20/20. Absolutely unexpected, not intended, not paid for, nothing. And then because of that, I was able to do the other eye as near vision 20/20. And so now I have perfect vision for the first time in my life. I still can't figure out what day it is in the calendar, but so I don't wear glasses anymore. And I put on the glasses and I didn't like it at all. So anyway, that doesn't really mean anything, but since some of you asked, I figured we'd go there. So, all right, it's yours, Megan. Now that I've completely derailed the start of the weekly webinar.
No, we're good. We're good. I'm glad that it's nice to not have anything on your face, huh? I enjoy that as a lifelong contact lens wearer. I don't enjoy things on my face, so I can understand. Let's get right into the results. It was a quieter week. We are still waiting for Georgia, which we knew we would be. So we just had Arizona, which came in at 45% pass rate, Wyoming with a 64% pass rate, and the big one was New Jersey with just under a 50% pass rate. So again, consistent with what we've been seeing. Wyoming had the highest pass rate in there, but obviously a very small jurisdiction, particularly for the February exam. So that's less indicative of what's happening with the rest of the country. But yeah, just seeing these really low numbers, 45% in Arizona, like that's pretty low. We're just seeing these rough numbers everywhere.
Yeah. Now, one thing that we always look forward to when Georgia releases results, we will then have the ability to disclose what was tested on the UB in February of 2022. We obviously have known this for some time, but we're restricted under our license from saying anything about it. So next week, we will talk to you about what was on the UB and what we saw there. We know all of that. We just can't say it. We always have to wait for that flag to drop for us.
Yes. So best of luck to all the Georgia students who are waiting for those results. I know you guys are like the last stragglers out there. Sorry. Usually it's California sitting out there with you, but we just really hope you have good results coming this next week.
Yeah. And I want to say to the Georgia bar takers, whether you're in our course or not, if your results are not favorable, you have no time to recover. You literally have to turn right around next day and start studying if you want to take the July exam. Now, you're perfectly welcome in our course to sit for February of 2023. There's no financial penalty. There's no problem there at all. But the reality of the situation is that we are now at the, 65, 70 day mark, I think, until the next exam. And this is the point where literally you're still at under 30 hours a week to get through our course. So it's still manageable, but you just got to go. And so your course is enabled if you're in our course. If you're not in our course, we'll be available over the weekend to talk to you and to help you get started. But you aren't going to have the luxury of taking a week or 10 days to figure out what you're going to do next. And that's just the reality here.
Yeah. Definitely. All these law students are graduating and beginning their bar prep as well. So if you've already started yours, congratulations, because you're ahead of the game for the July exam. And if you're waiting still for your results, then it's okay. You'll be right there with most of the people in the country taking the test. All right, let's bring June on to make a couple of announcements about her Calming the Chaos course, which has been very busy and popular. Hi, June.
Hey, everybody. Hey. Yeah. And yeah, I want to talk about calming the chaos for a minute. I'm getting pretty full. So if you are anxious, if you are not focused in your studies, if you need accountability, I highly encourage you to go ahead and schedule coaching with me. There's plenty of time before the bar to get you ready to work with your mindset. And I am not a licensed attorney, but I know a lot about mindset, and Jackson can tell you that. I've worked with Jackson almost 7 years, so he has seen me go through a few roller coasters, and mindset is something I have worked on and worked with for over 10 years, so I really know quite a bit about it.
Yeah, and I just want to say, let me just interrupt here. We did a couple of interviews this last week with successful students, with Amanda and Marie, who both went through your mindset coaching, and they rave about it and really credit a great deal of their success to changing their emotional look and the way that they worked on things. June is a really unique resource to have. I don't know of another bar review in the country that puts that kind of focus or attention on this. And so you could pay tens of thousands of dollars to go out and get therapy. She's not giving you therapy at all, but to get this kind of proactive look at how this mindset approaches the bar exam, specifically from somebody who's been through now 20 bar exams with us, is really a wonderful benefit. But like all good things, there's a limit. And we're a small course and we do that deliberately. So if you've been thinking about this, you really need to get on it. This is the time to order that.
Yeah, I think it's a good reality check. If you're really struggling, we can talk about that and figure out ways so you don't have to struggle. I talked about this last night. If you're on my group coaching call, we become so just tied and married to the fact that everything has to be hard. And then when something is easy and it flows, ooh, it's not working. And that's not true. It can be easier. It can flow. You can feel good about your studies instead of feeling like it's an uphill battle. And that's one thing we work with at CBR all the time, is making it easy for everybody.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Awesome. I hope people will take advantage of that before it disappears, because I know time is precious. That's for sure. And June's really busy with those calls. So definitely, if you've been on the fence about it, it's well worth it to make sure that you've got the right headspace going into your studies these next couple of months and then into exam day. All right, Jackson, one last announcement from you. What's happening with these 12 MBE modules that we've been doing I can't believe we've done 12 of them already, but within the webinar, and then what's going to happen with them moving forward?
Yeah, so we've been taking these deep dives across a variety of subjects, and we've done a couple of things with that. That's been part of our weekly podcast series, and it's been very popular for sure. And then we've taken the excerpts and we've put them into your course modules. If you're a Celebration Bar Review student, it's already in your course. It was included as we added each one, and we're going to continue to do that. You'll see those as optional assignments in each category. So con law today for the Commerce Clause, for example. Now, we also took those modules and we put them together in a special package called the toughest bar exam questions. And there are 12 modules and they're available for $149. If you're not registered in our course, you can take that course and use those 12 modules. But starting today, we're not going to include that deep dive in our podcasts or in anything except the replay for our registered students. So, in other words, you may hear us talk about the Commerce Clause today if you're listening to the podcast, but we're not going to go in and do that anymore in the podcast itself. You'll have to go and purchase the course, the Celebration Bar Review course, to get that module. And if you want the previous 12 modules, you'll have to jump into that toughest questions grouping. $149 is a real bargain. It's $27 per module, so you're saving 50% by buying the whole group. The point I really want to make is if you're a registered student, no worries. It's going into your course modules, same as before, and it's available in the replay. For everybody else, you're not going to have access to it any further because frankly, we thought 12 of them was enough to point out the value of it. And we want to make sure that our students are getting the best value possible.
All right, wonderful. With that being said, let's jump into the questions this week. We don't have too many. I love it. I think that in talking to students on their calls, people have been really just pushing through and working hard. And that's so wonderful to see. So we've got some questions, but I think for the most part, this has been a week where people are just getting it done, which is fantastic. Let's move on to some study strategy questions. This first one, a student said, my biggest concern right now is not staying consistent and losing sight of the bar as my first priority because I'm working this time around, and wondered if you had any advice for that.
That's a great question, isn't it? Most of our students have other responsibilities, whether it's family or it's work. And here we are in May, as you were saying, Megan, and there's so many things going on. If you've got kids, there's a ton of things happening. And it's just a lot to go in my position has always been that multitasking just doesn't work. And trying to do a little bit of everything all at the same time means you don't do well at anything. You're not a good worker, you're not a good parent or a spouse, you're not a good bar taker. And so you have to be able to set up your schedule and compartmentalize. Now, in my view, the best way to do this is to work in 7-day increments. I've said this for years and years, and every exam I get people that tell me that they've worked out their schedule down to the hour that they will have breakfast on the day of the exam, which is all very nice and all completely irrelevant and wasted and goes out the window as soon as something happens, which, news alert, it will. And so then you get frustrated and you feel like, oh, I'm behind and things are going badly. So what do? I think you just take 7 days and you block out the number of hours that you need to do. Now, if you have been moving steadily along in the course, in our course, you should be between 20 and 30%, maybe 35% of the way through the course. If you're somewhere in that range, I'm happy with 20 hours a week of study. If you are not yet to the 20th percentile of completion, you're probably going to have to put in more than 20 hours of study. If you're further than 35%, great. 20 hours, 15 hours is probably enough. Take those number of hours and put them into your week and just call them bar study hours. Do a 1-hour block, a 2-hour block, a 3-hour block at most. Now, this doesn't mean you couldn't put a 3-hour block in and then take a break and do another 3-hour block and then take a break and maybe even do 2 hours after that, although I think that would be the max for me. But the reality is that you want to just have these study blocks. Now, when you go into the study block and you say, here's my 1 hour of study, close the door, put up a sign, go to focus if you're on an Apple device and turn it to, or create something called bar study in which nothing comes on except what you're working on. I have that mode as well. And just do that for that period of time. When that 55 minutes or an hour is done, get up and go check on the family or check at work or do whatever you've got to do. But don't try to be doing all of it at once. That's where the study really gets distracted and the work gets poor and we see bad essays and we see frustrated students. So that's my take. Megan, you got a busy family. You've been through this a lot of different ways. What's your view on this?
Yeah, I think it's great advice. I think that the person, they specifically said they don't want to lose sight of the bar as their first priority. I would say it's okay if it's not your number one priority. If you have a family and everyone has a life, friends, but it is that when you're, just like Jackson said, when you're studying, then it's your first priority. So then it's in that time that you've got, you're going to be totally focused on that. And so that might mean that it needs to be at times when the baby is napping or the kids are at school, or you're not at your office at work, or you're on a lunch break at work, right? Something where you can feel totally free to give 100% to the bar for whatever that time period is. And you're not going to feel guilty and pulled in a bunch of different directions. I think that's always the killer, is when you feel like, gosh, I really need to get this piece done, or I need to understand this concept in the bar review, but I also feel like bad that I'm not doing or participating in this work or family or other thing that's happening around me.
Yeah, and I think today is really a good day to say this as well. This is the day that a lot of the big box bar reviews start their courses. And so you may be feeling some of this anxiety if you're watching Reddit or you're on Twitter or you're somewhere else and everyone's talking about, oh, I'm not doing anything except studying for the bar for 12 hours a day right now. Now, that's the necessity of a course that memorizes, and those are 500 and 600-hour courses. And there's a tendency, I think, in a FOMO world to feel like if you haven't made bar review number one for 12 hours a day, you're doing something wrong, or you're falling behind, or you're not as well prepared. That is all a fallacy. It's not true at all. But there is, Megan, you're certainly closer to this than I am, but there's this sort of, what is it, the humble brag of I'm studying 12, 14, 15 hours a day because I'm so worried about the bar, but I'm so brilliant. Don't get caught up in that stuff.
Exactly. You're on your own journey. I know June would echo that as well. Your journey is no one but your own, and you don't need to be worrying about what other people are doing. I think it's a great reason why we really suggest people do the group coaching calls as well, because you will hear from people who have different life situations than you. And then there's some similarities. And so you see, gosh, I'm not the only one who's going through this hard thing, but also I can't compare myself to what other people are doing because I just have a different reality than they do. And they have a different reality from me. And that's perfectly fine and healthy and normal.
A great question. Really glad that student asked that. But I think Megan's right. Get on group coaching. That will help you a lot. It's a great reality check.
Yeah. All right. Next question is someone who is looking for something to help with their writing specifically as they study. They're nervous about spending hours on the law lectures, feeling like the substantive law isn't a concern, but the writing is, and wondering if there's a specific part of the program that helps with that. This
is another really good question. And it comes up sometimes when people are just coming to the course and they've taken the exam previously and they've used other courses. You, as Megan just said, you get to create your own journey. Everything is there on the platform for you. So you certainly have the opportunity to pick and choose what you're doing. I would say if you pick and choose, take the topics in the order that you find them because they are built on a repetitive stepped cycle, and you're going to get very confused very quickly if you take them out of order from that standpoint. But within that broad category, I think the question really, in a sense, was, do I need to do the reading and the lectures? Can't I just do question practice? It's been my experience over 35 years that just doing question practice is not very effective. Now, that was my anecdotal experience. Then we had the Access Lex study that came out a year ago or so about the UBE, and they actually surveyed repeat bar takers and did a fairly extensive study. And what they found was just doing more questions did not actually improve results. Now, you can find that series, we called it 6 Keys to Getting on the Passing List, I think it was called. And the upshot of it was that just doing questions, whether it's essays or MBEs, by itself doesn't really change much in the way of your performance. Now, if you're in our course and you're submitting writing to me or to Megan, that is clearly going to improve your work. But ultimately, I think most people don't have the substantive knowledge to be able to do that without the lectures or the reading. So I would say photo read or skim, and then do the lectures. And if you're really smart and you really think you have the material, speed up the lecture. Just go to 1.5 times or 2 times and do it and get through it. But the reality is you got anywhere from 14 to 21 different subjects, depending on your jurisdiction. It's a law to know. And just doing essays without knowing the law, and very few people retain the law from one exam to the other in any substantial way. Just doing it that way, you're going to find deficits in your writing. So that's my take. What do you think?
I just wanted to answer the question about, is there anything in the program that specifically will help target writing? Yes, that is 2 things. One, first, the personal writing workshop, 100% you should be doing that. If this person said they are passing the MBE portion easily, but really struggling with the writing, you should 100% be doing the personal writing workshop with me. The second thing is you will probably want to do coaching as well with either Jackson or myself. And that's because it's not, if you've got it that dialed in of, hey, I know the law, but I'm unable to write passing essays, then you're going to need help. And I think this person said they've taken it with other companies 5 times previously. So you're going to need that extra push of how to get the stuff that you know in your head out on that page in a way that's going to get you enough points to pass. And so I don't want you, if you've done it 5 times already, don't do it the 6th time on your own. Please use us as a resource. That is why we're here. It's one of the best ways we can help people is when they're I think it's a great place to be when you're like, I know the law cold. I just need to figure out how to express it. Jackson and I've been doing it for over 10 years now. Jackson's been doing this for decades and decades. We know how to do that. So please reach out. That's what I would say. All right. Next, we've got someone very similar. This person, though, is a retaker, and they're wondering if they restart the syllabus from the beginning. So as opposed to being new to the course, somebody who's been through this before, but has been through it specifically with Celebration Bar Review, do they retake it, just start from the beginning and do the whole thing through again? Or is that a waste of time? Should they change things up a bit?
Yeah, again, it's a great question. We get it all the time. I am a firm proponent that you should go all the way through the course. I find that people tend to forget things, they skip things, they see it or hear it again, and they go, oh, wow, I forgot about that, or I didn't realize that. I think that the difference is the only thing I do differently the second time through the syllabus is to write different essays and different performance tests. I think that's more valuable. So when it's a tort essay, pick another tort essay or another performance test. I do think you need to do all the MBE questions, even if you've done those before. And I think that's important to build and grow. More importantly than all of that, however, is the note-taking system that you use. If you had mind maps before, continue with the syllabus and make sure that you expand your mind map as you work through it. Now, if you have the advantage of knowing that some subjects were weaker or stronger for you based on your test results, some jurisdictions give that information, some don't. But if you know that information, great. When you get to that subject, slow down, take a little bit more time, photo read it again, work on your mind map and so on in more detail. If you don't know that, go ahead and just continue working and expand your mind map. If you are not mind mapping, if you took the course, you didn't mind map and you failed, I will tell you, you should mind map. It makes a difference. It makes a huge difference. And we have been seeing this now for, I don't know, what are we going on, 6, 7 years, Megan? Mind mapping just is the game changer. And so I would go through the syllabus and create your mind maps.
Okay, wonderful.
Do you want to add anything to mind mapping? Because I usually ask you to talk about mind mapping, but did I cover it there?
I think you did. I love it. I'm always going to tell people to do it. And honestly, there is an easy option that is completely free, which is grab a large piece of paper and a pen and go to town and take those notes.
Yeah. So Megan's old school. I like MindMeister because I can't read my handwriting, but that's just me.
That's true. Your handwriting's like a doctor's handwriting. So some of us practiced our handwriting when we were in elementary school, and it shows. Adriana asks, do you recommend MindMeister or is it not necessary? It's very much up to your style, I think.
Yeah, totally. It's up to you. I love MindMeister because we've already set up the basic for you. Right. Certainly in bar maps, we've got it, but even in these deep dives we're doing. And if you've got a MindMeister account, you just pop that open and then you can modify and amend it and you don't have to recreate it. So that's the advantage.
Yeah. Another great question from the chat box. If we have specific questions, read various practice MBEs, how do you suggest we get in touch?
All right, I'm going to give that one to you.
Okay. So you can email us. You can email June. That's probably the easiest, June@celebrationbarreview.com, and she will forward it on usually to me. And then I will, so he asked if there might be an error or we need more explanation. Either way, please send it to me. Obviously, if there's an error, I always go in and check. Sometimes, some of these questions, so the MBs came from the examiners and there's stuff that I'm like, we're technically not supposed to make any changes, but I will bracket it. So please tell me if there's an error. Hopefully at this point, we've caught most things. Stuff slips through the cracks. So yeah, let me know. And I will respond back to you whether it was actually an error or there's some other thing that you're missing. And same thing, if you are unsure, just please specify what question you're talking about. So tell me, because we have hundreds of MBE questions, I need to know, is it in the Civ Pro Trainer Book 4 question, 22? Tell me exactly where it's from. That helps a lot. I am happy to answer substantive questions as long as they're tied to an actual MBE question. So don't give me a hypothetical, but if you tell me I don't understand why question 22 answer choice B was incorrect, then I will do my best to explain that to you via email. So great question. All right.
Thank you, Megan. Do you have any wrap-up comments as we head into Georgia results and another week of study?
Yeah, best of luck for those of you still waiting for your results. And for those of you who are studying, great job. I've been hearing great consistency from everyone over the last couple weeks. Keep it up. Keep going. Your June and July selves will be very happy with May you if you continue to keep going right now. So keep it up. If you have any questions that come up throughout the week, please reach out to us. If you need any help, all right, we are here. If you need help with coaching, with writing, with mindset, whatever it is, please reach out. Please jump on the group coaching calls as well. Let us know how we can help you as you study.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, everybody, for being with us. Have a great week, a great weekend. We'll see you again next week when I promise I will know that it is actually the month of May. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening and watching the Extra Mile podcast for bar exam takers at celebrationbarreview.com.